Hello. It's Sunday. Oh, damn, I'm gonna have to cut this some more. This is my Tiana. Okay. If you remember my Bath and Body Work haul video, definitely go check that out. Okay. But yeah, this ultimately was my favorite. This is actually the only one that I kept. This and the Mulan body cream. Uh yeah, this and the Mulan body cream um are the only ones that I really kept, plus their body sprays. But if I'm being completely honest, I don't even like Mulan that much. The smell, I mean. I like Mulan the character, but her smell, it smelled, nice at first, but as time went on, it's nice when the energy of it kind of like lifts your vibration a bit, it lifts your energy up. So when I'm feeling like I kind of want that light, airy, breezy type of scent going on that can lift my energy up a bit, I go with that one. But usually, well, I go with this one. This one brings a like, I don't even know how to say it, not an actual heat, but the sense of like heat, right? Because heat kind of, makes things rise, and heat kind of makes, aromas that are in certain places more potent, you know, and when you can smell perfume and stuff when it's more hot. So it's something about this that does really remind me of like a bayou, like a swamp. I've never been, but it kind of reminds me of like what I imagine would be like hot, it's like sticky probably, and then you can smell, whatever aromas are around you. I imagine. But yeah, so mm, wow. Okay, so that's that. Can you hear this? I'm also gonna put on some lavender oil. You too, so that you're in my space with the right energy. No nonsense. Okay. Just vibing. It's Sunday, so yesterday was an intense day for me. And I think if anything, you know, if anything, it just kind of reaffirmed to me um, why I do what I do, right? And the type of people there are in the world, the type of mentalities there are in the world, you know. And, I'm aware that a lot of these things are still parts of my psyche or my subconscious in some way, which is why these type of people can kind of attract themselves to me. But at the same time, I just needed to kind of see it and have it reflected to me that there are really bigots in the world still. Yeah, there are still really people who attack first and question later. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't want to know the answer to the question. They don't want context. They don't want to understand, right? They're very fragile. And I understand that that is something within my subconscious mind that has to be purged out. So let's go ahead and get a card of guidance. Just because it's Sunday, so obviously we need like something from the angels. Oh, Mother, Father, God. The orange, of course, is standing out to me, and the yellow, of course, is kind of like looks like the sun. It also looks like the Fibonacci spiral. It reminds me of like a shell, a seashell. Oh my gosh, a seashell that kind of has that. I'm not sure which shell that is. Let me look that up actually. I'll do that in a minute. Let me not get off track. But yeah, this looks like a sun. It looks like a Fibonacci spiral, and I'm gonna have to look that up in a minute for real because I know there's a message behind that. Maybe it's that things are continuous, right? Time is continuous. Evolution is continuous. That's really what it feels like. She's touching the center of this sun. She's touching the center of it. And as you can see, if you can see this, she has spirals within her body as well. You know, it's like she's one and the same with this source energy, this sun energy. It also makes me think, I mean, it looks like she's naked as well. So it also makes me think that, the idea that we come from this great, huge energy that you can't name, you can't put a label on, you can't put a gender on, you can't put anything on it. You can't. You just can't. Even if you think you could perceive it, you'd still be wrong. That's how big this energy is. And when I first kind of got into the idea of like reincarnation and all of this stuff, and understanding like this may be something that really resonates with me and how I feel about life, um, is Dolores Cannon. Dolores Cannon was, if you're not familiar, I suggest you go check her out just with the open mind. But Dolores Cannon was like a hypnotherapist, and she did this for many years. And over a course of time, she developed this communication through her patients, right? All different people, mind you. None of them know about each other or anything like this. If I'm not mistaken, this was even before like the internet was really a thing, right? So, this was way back when. Yeah, so she would have this communication through the people. They would cope to a certain point, past life regression or whatever, and they would all end up at this certain point. And when she got to that certain point, she could communicate with a specific type of energy. Now, after time and time and time again, it wasn't just a one-off experience. It was this experience where all of her clients were connecting to this one voice, this one or voice or whatever, the type of energy that it was. They would connect to this specific type of energy. And she started recording what they were saying and all of these things. She's written many books, and basically the idea, is that we're all sparks of God. There was like this Big Bang thing, and that was basically God shooting us off into human bodies, into souls, basically into the universe to experience, to become a tree, to become a butterfly, to become a grass blade, to become a human being, to become a dog, whatever it is, right? And maybe even being on other planets and such. Who knows what there is out there? That's the thing. We can always really speak for us right here on this earth. So as for, Earth, she termed it Earth School because it's basically like a school, right? So, anyways, that's the energy here, is that she's kind of reconnecting to this deep, 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 deep truth of hers, touching this light of God, touching this source energy of God, right? So there's something about that Mother, Father, God. Interesting. Yeah, it's this Mother, Father, God. It's this idea of number one, God being, both masculine and feminine in the way we understand it, but also of our mother, of our father, of us, of so on and so forth, their mother, their father, so forth, all being different expressions of this energy. How interesting. Now that makes me think that, I'm getting like a vision of, meeting different people in your life, different people kind of plopping down in front of you. You meeting this person, and then they get moved out the way. You meet this person, and every person you meet, you get another piece of God. You get more connected to God, right? That is so interesting. For some of you, you could be on a twin flame journey, soulmate journey, okay? Trying to really see that reflection, that purest reflection of God in your reality. Because a lot of people, of course, they come from the same energy, but they're not connected to it. You know, a lot of them are not connected to it. They get on this earth and they trust in the scientists, they trust in the mathematicians, they trust in the people who can provide them solid proof of something because that's where they feel safe. But for those of us who exist outside of that, who exist outside of what is possible, outside of what is seen, right? The psychics, the mediums, the dreamers, the artists, right? People who are very connected to that intuition, that feeling, that flow of energy, you know. Um, it's different. It's different. It's like we are open to these things, but for a lot of people, they're not. They're not connected to the feminine, the emotion, the intuition, the creativity. They're not connected to anything that provides or asks you to risk yourself, right? To be vulnerable, to risk yourself in any way, whether this is risk your reputation or risk, your family's approval or risk, you know, um, money or whatever it is, any type of risk. A lot of people do not F with that. Okay. But let me tell you something, in that place is where you are really tuned into that God energy because, if you think about it, what limitation is there to God? God is number one, eternal, everlasting. Who knows how long this energy has existed, right? Number two, God created everything there is to create, everything you see around you, everything you can see around you, everything you could even possibly dream of and think of in your mind, right? That's God. There is absolutely nothing that God can't afford. There's nothing that God has, you know, any problems with, any issues with. There's nothing that God is afraid of. Like it's that type of energy. That type of energy. So when you're connected to that space, it really feels like anything is possible. Anything is really possible, dude. But yeah, so that's this card here. Mother, Father, God. I was definitely just going off the riff with that one. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, the Fibonacci. Let me look that up. And then we'll move on, possibly. We'll see. Fibonacci sequence in nature. Okay, the Fibonacci sequence is a mathematical series where each number is the sum of two preceding ones. The sequence begins 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5. Okay, interesting. Yes, bro. Yes, bro. That's what I just was talking about with that reincarnation, but also just that energy of like everybody you meet having something that you need and you're collecting pieces and pieces and pieces, right? And you're forming that deepest connection to God, genuinely. Okay, so every person you meet is the sum of those who have preceded them. This is also giving me stuff about like ancestors, right? Everybody's a product of who preceded them, their parents and such. That is so fucking interesting. All right, let's see. Spiritual meaning. Mhm. Yeah, viewed as a blueprint of divine creation and cosmic intelligence. It symbolizes balance, infinite expression, and interconnection of all living things. Wow, dude. Yeah, that's the vibe. That's the vibe right there. Crazy. Okay. Okay, right. There was a seashell, I think, that I want to look up. Maybe not. Nautilus? Wow, it's an ancient marine cephalopod found in the deep Indo-Pacific. Wow. Wow, I bet those are really powerful to have. Of the Nautilus? Now I have to look up a Nautilus. Lon- Cephalopod? Living fossils. They're, oh my god, they still exist? OMG. Wow. They look insane. Like, can you see that? Wow, is that his eye? Okay, that's insane. Um, yeah. So actually, what I really wanted to do today was to use some sort of like creative energy to create something, because lately I've been really wanting to create my own deck for a long time. Actually, it's actually been a couple years that I wanted to create my own deck, but I was lazy at first, and now I'm not lazy, but it's just like I would have to find like an actual good printer, like a person who prints like the cards. And girl, it's just stressful because then, everybody has different dimensions, like, that you have to adhere to, and then it's like overwhelming. But yeah, this coffee is not that great, by the way. Not at all. All right. Ooh, completion and manifestation. We have the magician card and the conjure woman. By the way, if you are interested in learning how to read tarot intuitively, I'm gonna say cartomancy. Okay, I do use tarot like as an outline, right? As like a foundation in my course, which is free, by the way. Which is free. Let me know, okay, and I will link it for you. You will have to use your email to sign up, so just be aware of that. But the course is basically about how to read tarot and other cards intuitively. But let me tell you, by the end of this course, you are not only going to be able to read cards, you can read anything. You'll be able to divine. And you may even come out of it with stronger psychic gifts because of it. Okay. The intention is to offer a non traditional teaching to reading tarot, right? Intuitive reading of the tarots and any cards, as well as strengthening your intuition in general, that creative muscle, that muscle to feel, right, and to trust your feelings. um, and it's also just, yeah, it's really what it kind of is like, you know of course I use tarot because a lot of people want to learn tarot, and it's just easy. It's easy to pick up a playing card deck or whatever the case is. It's easy to have something tangible to work with, right, when divining. But generally, tarot was my gateway into all of these other things. And so, especially if you're clairvoyant, if you're very clairvoyant, then it's a good tangible way to strengthen your psychic gifts. But yeah, it's just a tool, right? But once you kind of get the hang of that and all of the things that I kind of teach about in there, I even have some meditations in there, okay? So, I love me a good meditation. Okay, it's gonna get you right every time. But if you're interested in that, it is a free course, and yeah, I can link it down below because it doesn't necessarily. I have to send the link. It doesn't have like a name to it. Uh, but yeah, you will have to use your email. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I'll actually probably link it down in the description box, by the way, so it doesn't have to be stressful. But yeah, because I'm looking at this conjure woman, and she has shells, she has bones, there's flowers around her, and I'm thinking of all the different ways a person could divine. Okay, by the end of this course, you will be able to divine with really anything. It's shells, bones, flowers, tea, water, swine, whatever it is. Okay, so I don't know. It's simple, but the way I teach it, girl, the way I go at it, that's how I am the way I am today. So I think I'm gonna cut this short here. That message was really powerful, so I hope that the crows. Hold on. Yeah, I hope that you take it to heart. I don't know, let it percolate. Definitely go check out Dolores Cannon and see if you resonate with that. Okay, and yeah, especially if you're interested in like UFOs and aliens and stuff.